Okay, we're live. Okay, we are live. I know it's been a week, you guys. We're back, though. Say we, it's like you and me, right? Welcome to episode 12 of So What? I am Brent Knox. I am the host. I am the writer. I am the everything as far as So What? Wanted to just tell you guys, hope you guys had a great week. Kind of give you an update of how my life's been going, what happened this week, some good stuff, high points, maybe even some low points, and we'll see what happens. First thing I wanted to tell everyone is this has been a week of ups and downs. I'm going to give you the quick agenda, but we're going to start with politics. Politics meaning what's going on in the country, what's going on in the world. Is it going to affect me and you, or how does it affect me? And what is the so what? What is the outcome of what's going on in the world? So just wanted to tell everyone, part of being it's kind of refreshing. We're seeing this now in action, but part of being a U.S. citizen is that you get free criminal removal, free border protection, free resident citizen screening and vetting, which is now starting to take place a lot. I mean, it's been happening, but now they're just putting them over the border, people over the border, starting with these violent criminals. So I don't necessarily want to give an opinion. I just want to be safe. I want everyone to be safe. And it looks like things are going well so far. And that's pretty much what's going on. So what? You see those things that are happening on TV, and I look at it and I say, so what? And the so what is, it's time that, for me, how do I reciprocate? You see these people working hard, taking out criminals, putting their lives in at risk to basically go out and get these guys. And, it takes a lot of courage to go out and do what they do every day. So what am I going to do? Well, my goal is to innovate, execute, and inspire. And part of this is part of the education portion of this whole thing. Wanted to let you know my health so far. So what have I done so far with my health this week? Actually, tonight I had no carb tortillas. So I don't know if you guys have seen those I got them at Walmart, but the wife and I tried them and they tasted a lot like Juan Pollo tortillas, and they were actually really good. I'm working on eating meals that require no insulin. So they're 100% no carb meals, which is good for me. And it's kind of weird just eating a meal, feeling full and not having to have a carb shot. So that's the first thing. And I know I'm getting some comments now. Thank you for the comment. Yeah, they're super good. That's true, Ron. We also have to stay committed. So I know I have to stay committed to the things that I'm working on, to educating people, letting people know, and also having a good time. Let everybody know, just being honest with the podcast, and let everyone know we all have the same challenges sometimes. I don't know if people don't realize, you feel like you're just in your own little box and doing your own thing, and you get kind of caught up, and there's days when you just feel like you didn't really do anything, and you have to look back and say, well, I did this, I learned this, and I learned that, but what am I going to do tomorrow? It's all about what you're going to do tomorrow. So, of course, health-wise, I'm focusing on nuts versus chips, fruit instead of candy, and you can see that fruit is an excellent thing. You have an apple a day, right? So wanted to kind of update you with what I've done, gold mining update. So I say prospecting, or I wanted to tell you I came up with a new title, but that's going to come in a minute. So basically, I went up into the canyon. So I was in what's called Whitewater Canyon near Palm Springs. Went up inside the canyon. I wanted to try out my new gold metal detector, and I was just sweeping around left and right. I figured I had a work appointment to do out there, and on my way back, it was actually a health screening I did. So I came back from Palm Springs. So I went up into the canyon. It was super windy, and I went in and I started scanning left and right, and I changed the sensitivity. I waited till it said nothing, and all of a sudden I would look, and I wanted to basically go into the side of these canyons where I had seen quartz deposits, stripes of quartz. I saw a mine, an actual mine that someone had been digging into the quartz. It was a pretty deep cave, and I'm thinking of camping there next time I go. I think I don't know. I might. I don't know if you get mountain lions or bears that might actually try to take over, but I'm in the middle of the desert. I don't think there's any bears, but there might be mountain lions. So I don't know. I'm going to think about that again. But anyways, I took the gold, my metal scanner, went through, and I wasn't finding anything in the side of the hill. So I basically took that thing and went up the side of the hill and up and down, see if I can find anything, adjusted the sensitivity to say like, okay, maybe a foot in, I can kind of chisel in and find my way in and maybe find that gold that's stuck inside the quartz. I'm looking for those big chunks of quartz, and nothing came up when I was scanning. But what did come up, and I went all the way up into the canyon where it was just so windy, and I was looking down. I said, I don't have a hard hat. I have no protection, and the wind could blow up these rocks and blow them right on my head and just wreck me at any time, and I probably wouldn't even see it coming. So it was a little bit dangerous. So what I did is I just went through, and I just wanted to get that side of the mountain in a couple canyons, and I did it, but there was nothing. I didn't get any indicator. It was really deep inside the rock. And so I'm not sure if people had actually done this before. I'm sure I've seen people mining in the side of the hill, but if you're going to do that kind of mining, I figure they probably came up with some kind of a metal detector at some point. So what I did is I was in the floor of the canyon. So right where the canyon went hit, and there was sand and dirt, and I could just kind of dig down, and I was set the sensitivity and was getting a little bit higher and higher. And I was digging down. Basically, I found these rocks that were just going crazy. And I had those rocks, and I smashed those rocks, and I'll give you an update of what happened with those. So then I took those rocks, I went home, and the next a couple days later, I went to the cemetery. So there's an old abandoned cemetery. It's one of the oldest cemeteries in Southern California, near my house. Did some scanning, and I found a few things. I found some pieces. Like, I didn't want to go too far. I didn't want to go past a foot or 2 feet, because I just didn't want to find a shallow grave and maybe find some jewelry that was attached to some bones that kind of tripped me out. But I'll tell you, the first thing I did find, I just kind of looked around the cemetery, and I did find a coffin. So it was a little wooden coffin. I don't know if I took a picture of it, but it was like this big. It's like someone got it from some kind of a novelty store or something, and it had a little fire, like someone lit a candle on it, and it had tape all around it. And it was right in front of a headstone. And I said, oh, someone's doing a seance here. So I ripped that thing open, cut it open. It was filled with papers and like little stupid stuff. And it had these little notes in it. And I read them, and it was like this curse, like this family's going to curse this person forever. And it's like, how stupid. And I was talking to someone, and was like, oh, don't do it. Don't touch it. Like, what are you talking about? I could break the curse. So whatever. So I found that, and it was kind of silly, but I just ripped it apart. And then I started, I did some scanning around, and then I found something. It's like, man, a chunk of metal. So I went down a little bit, and it was like a pipe, and it looked like it was part of a pole for a fence pole. When I looked at some of the grave sites, I realized it was actually a you call like a rose or a flower holder. It was like the same size and everything. So I had hit the edge of someone else's grave site, which is separate from the actual cemetery, but it was still part of the cemetery. So I think, that I kept looking and looking. I found a few coins that were, 2015. I didn't go any further, I guess. They looked like they were old, but I cleaned them off. And I found a few bottle caps. But then what I also did find, I found some bottle caps on the surface that had dirt in them, which told me other people had been already scanning in there. And so anyways, I didn't find a lot. I think other people had scanned out that cemetery. I even went around in some of the entry points. I didn't have the right, like a pick to really go deep. And I just found it, I don't know, I felt kind of weird digging deep into a cemetery looking for stuff. So I kind of abandoned that idea. But I did get a weird and wacky idea, and you guys are going to think this is nuts, but I promise I will follow up within the next week or two. On my way out from the cemetery, I looked down, and there's a wash. And I looked down in the wash, and I said, you know what? I will bet, if anything, that wash is a natural sluice. And I was looking at gold, potential gold inside the wash. And I know, I think that's nasty. You have to get down there. And I've been down in the wash before when I was younger. You have to go through the manhole. You have to go all the way down, climb in and get in there, unless you have some kind of a ladder solution to go over the fence and go all the way down. But I'm going to find a way in that wash. And if there's some policeman or someone for the city, I don't care. I'm going to go in there and I'm going to look and I'm going to pull out some of those rocks, because if you think, there's a lot of rocks, a lot of debris and everything going down there. But if there is gold in any of those rocks, anything, let's say they're throwing dirt or a hillside comes down, that gold is going to stick in the bottom of that wash. It's going to stick. There's cracks in the wash. And I was looking, I said, you know what, there could be in there. So that's the one thing I'm going to try. And I promise to you guys, I'll tell you what I find. So I got back, and over the weekend I had a friend of mine visit, and he was helping me smash up some rocks. So I took each one of those rocks and I started each one at a time. I was smashing them up, see what I could find, and I was panning them. And I said, you know what am I doing panning this, right? And the big question that I'm going to ask everyone, I'm going to let you guys think about it for a second. But if you want to pause the video, if you're not watching live, but what's the best way to find a needle in a haystack? If you could use any tool, magnet, right? So we were using magnets to kind of pull out, like after we smashed everything out and I found, and I'm going to take a picture, I'll show them later, but exactly what I found. I found a couple pieces of quartz that had gold inside of it, but the gold was very small. It was like minute, but it was inside the quartz. So I found a few flakes of gold so far. They're like tiny little pieces of gold. And I still have a few more rocks to smash, and I'll be doing that tomorrow. I'm doing a little bit more work with that. And I've been playing with the scanner, and it has a pinpoint mechanism where you actually can pinpoint now, and I kind of know how deep I'm going. So, but it got me thinking, you know what? How come we're not using magnets? How come I'm not using a very powerful magnet? And I'm even thinking a magnetized shovel, whether it be waterproof or not waterproof, to dig down. I'm talking about a magnetized sluice. I mean, I could take all the riffles out of a sluice box if I could just put one waterproof magnet pad right in the bottom of it. And I'm going to try it. I'm working on a solution right now, and I'm going to work on that tomorrow, where I actually have magnets inside the sluice. I'm going to use it with my riffles, and I might be able to try it eventually without the riffles. So all I'm using is a magnet. I want it electric power so I can turn it on, just like, in a wrecking yard. Have you guys ever seen those super powerful magnets where the cars get stuck to the magnet, and then they can turn it off and the car falls down? So if you could turn a powerful magnet on or off, whether you're going into the ground or you're under the water, I think that's a very powerful tool, and I'm going to play with it. So we're going to see what I come up with a magnetized sluice and even magnetized shovel and even a powerful magnet. So anything I pull out, I can start pulling gold and iron ore out of whatever I find without having to pan it. So that will keep you from having to pan gold and precious minerals. And I think that's a very interesting thing, and I'm going to continue to work on that. The other thing is, wanted to let you know there's a few different levels of where I'm going right now. Right now, I am a treasure hunter hobbyist. I aspire to be a semi-pro treasure hunter. So once I find something, so far I've only about $400 worth of gold that I found so far. It's not a whole lot, but once I get to 1 ounce, which will be, the $2,000 mark, $1,800 worth of gold, I'm going to call myself a semi-pro treasure hunter. And once I'm able to basically sustain myself, so I'm going a month at a time, getting a minimum of $2,000 in treasure, I'm going to call myself a professional treasure hunter. But at this point, I am still a treasure hunter hobbyist, and I'm glad. Hope you guys are interested. I think, to me, this is very interesting. I don't know how many of you guys are treasure hunters, how many of you guys want to try treasure, but that's pretty much it. And also during the week, I'm still working on my Duolingo, so I'm on like my 11-day streak. I'm learning new words. like cansada, right? My wife said, no, I don't understand. If I say cansada, she says cansada. Do it like cansada. So I'm working on my words. I'm understanding more when people talk, which is crazy. I'm hearing the little words and picking up a lot more what they're doing. So that's exciting. I'm learning Spanish every day. And this is the time. So I gave you my gold mining update. That's what I'm working on so far. Little prospecting. I did not go in the Pomona Hills, but I will be trying that out soon because I want to be able to use my my metal detector up there and see what's in those rocks, pull them down, smash them up, and hopefully use the magnet. I would love to be able to have a very powerful magnet to be able to go right up there and it'll actually pull, or some of the rocks that actually have gold inside of the quartz will probably move, and that would be another goal, but that's coming up soon. That'll be next week. So actually maybe this week. So we got some fun stories. I got some fun stories to tell everyone. Of course, usually I have the wifeyisms, which is something the wifey said or did, and I just actually covered those. But I'm sorry, but my grandson takes the cake for the funny story of the week. My friend visiting, his name actually happens to be the same name as my grandson. His name is Ron, and when he was younger, he called him Ronnie. And my grandson's name is Ronnie. So Ronnie and my grandkids came to visit, and my friend Ron said, "Hi, my name is Ron. You know what?" He said, "Just like you, we have the same name." He says, "I was the original Ronnie. I'm number one Ronnie." Well, my grandson got very upset about that. He didn't want anyone telling him he wasn't the original. He says, "No." And he goes right into his grandma's room. He says, "Grandma, I don't like him." He says, "Because I'm Ronnie. He's not Ronnie." He says, "No." And I think it's funny. A lot of us have our name, right? And a lot of names are very unique and original. Like my name, Brent Knox. You might think, well, there's not too many of them, but there is a preacher named Brent Knox. There's a few other Brent Knoxes, and you have to understand there are other people with the same exact name as you, and it doesn't mean you're any less special. So little kid, it's just so cool that he's got that little attitude when he's young. It's like, no, me, like this is how I am. I'm an original person, and that's, I think, what we all need. It's very good for us when we're young to have that, and I just thought that was the funniest thing. So the next thing I want to talk about a little bit is I'm working a little bit on discussion. So a lot of times when you get isolated or you're not right now. I mean, I don't technically have a boss at work. I have my wife, which is my number one goal. Take care of your wife, and everything else will be good. So I have to take care of myself so I can take care of my wife, and everything else falls into place. But the point is, I don't necessarily get out and do social situations. I'm not like interacting with people on a daily basis at work with what I do, with my profession. It's pretty simple. So one of the things I'm working on is having better conversations. Conversation is an art form. And I started talking to some people at my birthday, and I really didn't realize I didn't have a lot of the good stuff to talk about. I should have been asking more questions. I should have been, asking people. I was trying, but I gave a list of some things that we could come up with that I wanted to share them with you. I came up with some good ideas for conversation. So here they go. Number one, food. Fun things to do, like what do you do for fun? Do you go place? Do you go hiking? Where have you been? Do you go to Disneyland? What's your favorite rides? What do you like to do at like Knott's Berry Farm? I guess, do you like to go to the beach? Fun things to do. Sometimes you get people who just don't like to do anything. They like to watch movies. Maybe you could talk to them about their favorite movies and what they like to watch. You can ask about kids or grandkids, which is good. Sometimes it's not the greatest conversation when you're out drinking or in a social situation, because then you get my kids, they're causing problems, and you're going out to get away from all their kids right now, or all their other problems, or trying to forget and think about something else. You try to turn it positive, of course. Maybe what's your favorite drink? What do you like to drink? If they're alcohol drinkers or not alcohol drinkers, sometimes they love the virgin pina colada. Sometimes they like the rum. Sometimes they like the gin, whatever. Favorite soda, I don't know, any of that kind of stuff. And if they're health food nuts, you can ask them what their favorite shake is, whether it be if they like the green grass shot, right? What is it called? Learn a little bit about the health food stuff. I'm not super into that, but chia seeds and all that bee pollen, and what do you put in your in your supplements and why, what do you put in your drink. The other thing is, here's some other ideas I wanted to give you guys, and I hope you guys like these, but how about let's have a discussion about what Olympics should be showcased at the 2028 Olympics that are coming up in LA. So I got one that we played as kids, and I would love to see it as a sport at the Olympics. Butts up. You guys remember butts up? They call it like suicide or whatever. You throw the ball against the wall, and if you drop it, you better touch the wall. Otherwise, all the kids are going to punch you. Or if they actually hit the wall with the ball before you touch it, if you drop it, you have to go up, and it happens. Let's say it usually happens 3 times, but if it happened once, you have to stand up to the wall, and usually you do it with a racquetball because it has a little sting, but it's not really going to hurt you. Racquetball, tennis ball, don't do it with the baseball. You really can hurt people, but you throw it. So they have to turn around, and everyone gets to throw. Or actually, the person that got you out gets to throw it, and typically they're supposed to aim at your butt. And if you turn around and look, you could get whacked in the head. So you gotta be a little brave when you play butts up, especially if it's suicide version, which is like they all try to punch you before you touch the wall. You got parachute ball. Everyone remember when I was in elementary school, they had the humongous parachute that went all the way around, bigger than a trampoline. It was humongous, and everyone held it, and you try to push the ball. And I don't know the instances where people would be on it and you'd pull it and they'd go up and down, and that's a little dangerous, I know, but moving the ball around the parachute. How about, have you guys ever played the sport with the humongous ball? There's a giant ball, maybe like 3 stories high, and everyone tries to push the ball over the other side. What a cool sport that would be, right? Like at the Olympics, you have teams and you're just trying to push the ball. You're not allowed to touch each other. You have to touch the ball. So no physical contact. Or that's the giant ball rule. Everyone remember? Red Rover, said somebody over. Now, that is a sport that would involve a lot of injuries to hands, arms, and legs. You imagine professional Red Rover, or as an Olympic sport, you got people running, breaking arms, that kind of stuff. So, no, that's not one. But I just thought I'd put that in there to think of what a bad idea would look like. But it was fun when you were a kid, right? How about dodgeball? So I think my number one thing I would like to petition the Olympics for LA is to have a professional is to have an Olympic sport exhibition with dodgeball. I've been watching the little videos, the little reels and stuff, and that's pretty cool. And I would love to to actually compete or be a judge or be an official in the LA Olympics exhibition of dodgeball. So I will be sending that as a one suggestion. If you guys have any other suggestions for what can be an exhibition event, we're talking about an exhibition event every year, every 4 years, the Olympics, both Olympics actually, the summer and the winter Olympics, do exhibition sports. So they try out new sports, see how people like it. Last year, of course, it was breakdancing, which is like we got the right. But a lot of that breakdancing was really cool, but it didn't work out so well because breakdancing is an art form and not necessarily a sport. But dodgeball, different story. So also I got that idea because I was watching, I've been watching the Simpsons in order, so all the episodes, and I'm in like season, I think 8, and I got to the episode where the Olympics were going to come to Springfield, but Bart screwed it all up with his horrible, he called it the roast, right? His horrible stand-up. But it was funny because I was watching all the things they're doing in the town of Springfield to clean it up. And you got the police officer chasing the actual rats out of town. You got them just torching old tires and just burning everything. And it's just going to be an interesting Olympics for Los Angeles with all the rebuilding and everything that has to be done. They got a lot of work to do in the next 3.5 years. So looking forward to those Olympics. And what else I got? Lately, I think for myself, I'm feeling a lot less empowered and helpless. A lot of times, you're watching the news, and I was watching the news. I said, you know what? I see street racing, vandals, murder, all the crime, and the news they're not very responsible when it comes to telling what really happens. And I want to give you an example of that. One would be when you have those joy drivers and you got the helicopter going over and they don't tell you the end result of what happened to these joy drivers. It's like, yeah, police chase. Wow. Well, he's famous, right? And I read, and I don't know if it's true, but they serve a minimum to 4 years in prison. I think it's as low as 2 years now, but they spend at least 2 years when they're running from the cops like that. Any of those police chases you see, and you don't really see the follow-up of what really happens to these people. And it's not good. The other thing is, you notice in the news, they're not telling you, oh, the rain came and the fires are out. All I heard this morning, I heard one newscast say that one of the fires is now down to 95%. Now, we had a pretty good deluge of rain and covering that last smoldering piece of whatever was left of the fire. But they should open the news telling you, showing you video of the rain. I want to see the video of the rain coming down on that fire. You know why you're not seeing that? My opinion is because it's a super positive message. All they're going to do is tell you, well, now we got the mudslides. Now it's going to be mudslides, right? And they went into the show the mudslides in Woodland Hills, and there was some mud, and a couple people got stuck in their Toyota 4Runners because they didn't have a Chevy, I'm sure, right? But it wasn't the most positive. But that's what they should have been reporting. Just remember, the follow-up should include something very simple. If you want to run from the cops, you want to commit crimes, they're showing about vandalizing these GPS unmanned vehicles, whatever. If you want to do that kind of stuff, let me tell you what, you are not OJ. You don't have OJ's money, and you are not going to get off, and you're going to spend a lot of time in prison. So that would be the fun thing, is seeing people who just commit horrible crimes on video. I want to see the follow-up story. Maybe they learn from their ways. Maybe they became model citizens. But 2 to 4 years after they come out of prison, and man, that is 2 and 4 years of pain. I don't want to be dealing with any of that. And if they did a story like that, maybe people would think twice before they did something stupid like that, running away from the police. You might as well, it's LPD. You just, whatever you want, just put me in jail. They're just going to let you out anyway. So I have a few beefs. So a couple beefs I just wanted to give you, like, that was like some observation, but this is in every one of the so what's I do a beef. So I have a beef with one thing, and I want you guys to think about this, okay? The Saturday Night Live cast. You remember when Norm Macdonald got fired, right? Norm Macdonald got fired because the producer at the time, and don't let Lorne Michaels say he wasn't his deal, right? He still had the overriding authority to do it. But it was because he was saying things like, well, the producer thinks OJ is innocent. He was just saying things that were controversial, saying things against Hillary Clinton, making fun again of the Clintons, the Obamas. He was making fun of everybody. I don't even know if it was the Clintons, but anyways. But let me tell you one thing. When he was fired, when Norm Macdonald was fired, not the SNL cast member said one thing. I'm talking about all of them. Adam Sandler. You look at the cast members of the time. They didn't say anything. You should, and those are my heroes. Those were people that I looked up to. I thought they were the funniest people ever. But, each of them all of them could have got together and said, this just isn't right. We don't agree with the stuff he says, but this is art. And we should be standing up for other artists. So the moral of the story is, you say, so what? So what? Should I just be mad and not watch SNL? Like, don't watch SNL because it sucks. It's not funny anyways. It hasn't been funny in decades. But what we should do is understand you can't expect other people to have your back when it comes to a lot of stuff, especially political stuff. Don't put your neck out there. And Norm didn't ask for them to do any of that stuff. He just moved on with his life. And it was a good story. He went on Letterman. He found people. He did his own podcast. He found people that were willing to, just enjoy his perceptions, his art, his humor. He was the funniest SNL weekend show, one of the funniest. Well, you can't say he wasn't the funniest. He was the funniest. Chevy Chase. You got a lot of competition there, but Norm Macdonald's dry humor was awesome. And kudos to Channel 5. I actually got to see a live Clipper game today, part of it. I don't know what happened, but it hasn't been on KTLA, Channel 5. Maybe I've been missing it, but I'm able to watch a live game without paying for the NBA or whatever, and that's pretty refreshing too. So that's pretty much it. The last beef I have is, You see these LA fire venues, the fire benefits that are coming up. I noticed they're doing one at the Intuit Dome. They're doing a few at a few different concerts. I want to know one thing. I want to know if the venue owners are actually making money. I want to know who's making money on these benefits. And it could, because a lot of times you follow the money. I don't know. These fires were set under pretty suspicious, it was pretty suspicious what happened. They showed people that one homeless guy going around with a blowtorch, not able to explain it. I know I'm somewhat of a conspiracy theorist now, which are now becoming mainstream. Also, we have the JFK files and the MLK files that just came out, and I haven't heard anything about them, but I'm looking forward to that information and seeing, if it was the actual FBI that took out, these people and what they knew about it and how they were involved. It's pretty crazy. So that is the So What episode. We are done. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. I'm looking forward to doing some more prospecting. I have a couple friends lined up that are going to come and do some prospecting with me. So I hope I have all my ducks in a row. We'll have some more information. So I told you some of the things I'm going to be looking at, using magnets, getting better with the metal detector, trying the metal detector underwater, seeing what I can find, dredging, even dredging with magnets is one of the things I'm going to be working on next week. And I'll let you know how that goes. Actually, this week and this weekend. So we'll let you know how that goes. And until then, you guys take it easy. Just remember, everything you look at, everything that comes at you, you say, so what, right? So what? So what are you going to do about it? Are you going to do nothing? To be more aware is one thing, and I'm not going to do this in the future. I'm going to watch out for that in the future. I learn from this in the future, but everything has to have a so what. Otherwise, you're just being fed rage. You're feeding divisiveness. You're being fed things. You're being fed things that are just not healthy for you. So in all of life, look for a so what. So I got it. I got an answer here. I want to just share it real quick before we head out. But Mr. Jim Togerson, a great friend of mine, he said, some idea for Olympic exhibition sport, tug of war, and tag. So tag is excellent. Hide and go seek, I would not recommend. I saw that in Monty Python, and I think that's already been played. I don't think that'll work. So thank you very much, Jim, for your input. Those are excellent one. Tug of war is an excellent one. It's almost like falls in the logging category where you have people like doing those, what do you call the log jams or whatever? What do you call it? The log jammers balls? I don't know. They have these huge events where they try to roll on the logs, and maybe tug war is one of those. But anyways, Olympic event, that's a good one. So any suggestions on Olympic events? I'm looking for those. Any suggestions on treasure hunting, gold mining? I'm always looking for those. Feel free to message me, post it in the chat. Looking forward to all your comments. So you guys have a great week. I don't know when I'm going to do the next show. I am not committing to an actual schedule because things change, but I promise I will do a show when I have good updates and I have a good show prepared for you, because I've actually been doing the work. Talk to you about prospecting, what's going on in politics, all that fun stuff, as well as some wifeyisms. We'll have good storyisms, and hope you enjoyed the Ronnie story. That was one of my favorites of the week. So I figured I'd share that with you. It actually was, one of my favorites of the week. So we'll see you guys later. All right. Thank you for joining. And remember, so what? Think about it in your brain. So what? See you guys next time.